100%. It all belongs to the Lord. Everything is His. It cracks me up. As if sometimes people think that when they give that somehow, okay, God, here's your payment, like God needs it. You know how the pagan practice is of sacrifice? You know what it is? Abby, do you know? Have you studied any pagans? Have you hung around with any pagans lately? You don't know it, but you have. There's pagans all over the place. We just don't call them that anymore. Here's how the pagan giving goes. Here's how it goes. They got a big, mean, angry God, and He's hungry all the time, man. Always hungry. And so what you do is you come and you bring him or her, whichever your God is, you bring them the offering and just enough to make them full so they don't eat you. Okay? And so it's like, here's your gift. I hope that was enough. That's pagan giving. See? Just enough so that we don't get eaten by our God. That's not New Testament giving. That's not Jesus Christ disciple giving. Look at this gal. She had 2 coins. She gave both of them. Do you realize there are some in the past who have criticized this woman? Why didn't she just give one? Then she'd have had at least one more coin left. But she gave it all. She gave sacrificially. Here's a principle I learned 20-some years ago, and in regards to giving is this. Some of you can give little, some can give a lot. But we should all give sacrificially. It's not equal amounts, it's equal sacrifice. And the sacrifice is not what we lay before the God who does, we don't want to eat us. Sacrifice is ours. What are we giving up? Because you see, you've got these people, and by the way, you got to be able to envision this. Along the temple, there were 13 boxes. And on top of these boxes were large golden horns going down into the box. And we see the rich people, many of them came, and what they would do, sometimes they would actually come with fanfare. What do you guys call at those soccer games, those things? What are they called? Vumazemas or something. Zumazela? Yeah, whatever that. Them big noisy things. They had brass horns like that where they would come and have people blow those, and then the guy or gal would take their money and coins and throw it in there and make a big spectacle, and everyone say, "Oh, Jay, you are so generous. Man, what a great guy. Look at all the money you threw in there. It made such a racket, and everybody's looking at you, and they're so impressed, and they want to hang around with you. We always want to hang around with rich people, don't we? Why? Maybe they'll give us some. Let's just get honest. I hang around, be a pal with a rich guy. Maybe he'll croak and give it all to me, whatever. And that's what they do, and they did back then. But notice the language about the widow. She didn't come and throw hers in. See, the text said it threw it in. She came and she did what? Somebody say it. Put it in. She put it in. She didn't make a big fanfare of it. She was very humbled by her gift. Even though Jesus now tells us her gift's bigger than any of these other rich people. She put it in. Who is going to support the work that the Lord's doing today? Disciples are going to do it. Giving, I said, is the heart and soul of what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ. And when it comes down, we just like Jesus' time, we work on a monetary system. And those of you who honestly, truly have a heart to give, and over again, since I've been at New Song, I've seen many times of great graciousness and generosity. But how much do we give? This is a sermon on the amount. What do you teach your children in regards to giving? How much do we give? The Old Testament, there's a really neat thing here. In the Old Testament, go all the way back before the law of Moses. Go all the way back to the time of Abraham, who's in covenant relationship with God. And Abraham and some of his guys, they win a great victory against some pagan kings. And Abraham decides to give an offering of thanks to God. And guess how much he gives? 10%. He gave a tithe. How did Abraham know this? Where did he get this information? Why did he settle upon 10%? We don't know. We can only speculate. Then we usher in the time of Moses where he goes up on Mount Sinai and God speaks directly to him the law. We call it the law of Moses. And God specifically says under the law, you must give a tenth of all you have. That's the law. Then we come into the New Testament time, which we all live. We don't live under the law. And so there are a lot of folks who say, well, see there, we're not under law anymore. We don't have to give that tithe anymore. We're not mandated by law to give that tithe anymore. My experience has been, all those folks have told me that in the past, they're a little stingy. They're a little stingy. And on one hand, they're absolutely correct. We don't give a tithe based on law, but we still should give the tithe. But this time, based on a more noble reason. Because of grace. Because of grace. We've seen Abraham. We've seen Moses. So when I want to know what makes the Lord happy, I know the starting place, even apart from the law, is a tithe. What does that belong to? You baptize young people. Those of you who have given your life to Jesus Christ, you've made it public through baptism. All of us. You get money. However we receive our money, we should be given in a tithe to the Lord, because who's going to support the work that God is doing in the world? Let me share some numbers with you at New Song. Just share some numbers with you, okay? We set up last year something brand new we've never done before, and that is we set up a budget based upon ministry leaders' request. We did what we called a deficit budget. We didn't think that we as a church, based upon last year's contributions, would be able to support this budget with this year's contributions, but this is what the ministry leaders said. We need to do the ministry, okay? It was $160,000 and change based on ministry leaders' request. We want to do ministry. This is what it's going to take. Currently, we're running $200 a week below that, which is going to put us to a deficit at the end of the year at $10,400, okay? So, I ask all of us, there's so much to do. All these ministry leaders have things that they want to do that they believe God is guiding them to do. What's possible? What could we do at New Song? Let me give you some other numbers. Flip to the next page. I got this information totally from the treasurer here. Went and looked at the 2008 Census data numbers. I have no idea how much anybody here gives. I want to make that perfectly clear. I have no idea, and I don't want to know. And if you want to know my rationale behind that, please see me, but it's very good, I think. I have not known, and I don't want to know. That's between you and the Lord. But here are some just generic numbers that she pulled out, and just a suppose, okay? That the average net weekly take home in Lenawee County is right at $577 a week. If one was to tithe that, and here's how I've always, you wouldn't write $57.70, would you? And don't raise your hand, please, because I'm fixing to blast you. You know, I mean, that is a Pharisee, baby. This is what the Pharisees would do under the law. What is the law? And they're basically doing that appeasing the God thing. Oh, I made $577 this week, so I write out a check for $57.70. And in sermon prep, I asked Jackie, I said, surely we don't receive any checks like that. She says, oh my goodness, no. Thank you, Lord. Because that is a Pharisee. I have fed the God just as much as he needs to keep from eating me. I have fulfilled the letter of the law. And that's all I'm going to no further. By the way, if you need to check out today, see Jackie. You know, I'm sure you guys wouldn't do that. But anyhow, I always taught my kids, always round up. Now, round up is very subjective, isn't it? Round up to the next dollar, round up to the next 10, you know, whatever. I said round up. So let's say it's $60, okay? 57.70, $60. All right, just for ease on numbers. 70 family units here at New Song, times $60 a week will be $4,200 a week, $218,000 a year. Wow.